Humans had spread far across the stars. Ships glided silently between planets, carrying settlers, explorers, and scientists to new worlds. Humanity had learned to survive in space, building colonies on planets with air, water, and sunlight, and even on those that needed domes and machines to keep people alive. For the first time in history, humans were not just survivors, they were becoming a respected species in the galaxy. On one small distant planet, far beyond the usual human routes, something strange was happening. The planet was quiet, covered with blue-gray forests and small mountains. Its rivers shimmered in green light under the twin suns. Humans had detected unusual energy readings from the planet. The signals were faint but very strange, like a mixture of technology and life energy. No human settlement or machine could make such a pattern. A team of human explorers was assembled. They were chosen carefully for courage, intelligence, and skill. Ella, a scientist with sharp eyes and a quick mind, was the leader. She had studied alien signals for years and had a reputation for seeing things others missed. Jack, the second in command, was strong, practical, and calm under pressure. He had spent years piloting ships through asteroid fields and stormy planets, and he trusted Ella's judgment completely. The ship approached the planet slowly. Outside, the twin suns made the forests glow in soft light. The sensors beeped quietly, showing patterns that worried Ella. "These readings," she said, "look like something alive but controlled. Something is capturing energy from life forms." Jack frowned. "Energy from life forms?" he asked. "Do you mean people?" Ella nodded, her face serious. "Possibly. We need to be careful. We do not know what we will find, but we must protect them if they are human children." The team landed the ship in a small clearing near a river. The ground was soft and strange plants curved like arches over the water. Tiny creatures scuttled away as the humans walked, sensing the newcomers. Sensors picked up small figures in the distance. Tiny figures that were moving but not naturally. Ella froze. She saw them clearly on the monitor inside the ship. Children. Human children. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide with fear. Some huddled together, some looked at the sky as if hoping someone would save them. "They are frightened but they are alive," Ella said, her voice low. "We must get closer. But carefully. We cannot panic them or risk the alien noticing us too soon." Jack nodded. He adjusted the suit he wore and led the way. The team moved slowly through the forest. They could hear the sound of alien machines in the distance, faint whirring and humming, like the heartbeat of a giant creature. The children were near those machines, and the machines seemed to watch them, controlling their movements in some way. Ella's heart ached. She had seen human children before, happy and playing, laughing at small things, innocent and free. These children were silent. They did not move except as the alien machines allowed. One small boy tried to reach for a butterfly and was gently lifted back by an invisible force. Ella swallowed hard. "This is worse than we thought," she whispered. The team approached slowly, hiding behind large trees and rocks. They needed more information. Ella used a scanner that could see energy patterns. The Xerans, the species behind this, were clever. They had hidden their presence. But the scanner showed faint outlines, tall, thin beings with dark skin, long arms, and eyes that glowed faintly in purple. They moved between the children and the machines, controlling the devices, checking the monitors, and whispering to each other in a language the humans could not understand. Jack leaned closer to Ella. "We should take them now," he said softly. "We cannot wait. The children might get hurt." Ella shook her head. "Not yet. If we rush, the Xerans will notice us. We need a plan. We need to understand how the machines work. Then we can save the children safely." The team watched for hours. The Xerans were methodical. They took one child at a time and led them to small chambers hidden among the forest trees. The chambers hummed with energy like cages, but not cages humans would recognize. Inside, children could not move freely. They were trapped but unharmed. Ella observed how the energy patterns shifted when the children tried to resist. "This is cruel," Ella said, her voice trembling. "But it is not too late. They are strong but frightened. If we act carefully, we can save them all." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in purple and gold, the human team returned to their ship. They were careful to leave no trace of their presence. Inside, Ella wrote a report to the human leaders. Her words were calm, professional, but heavy with concern. "Children of our species are being held by an alien race. They are frightened but not harmed yet. The Xerans control them using technology that manipulates life energy. Immediate action is required, but force alone will not work. We need strategy, observation, and care. The children's safety is our first priority. I recommend a full council meeting to plan the next steps. Jack leaned back in his chair, rubbing his forehead. I can't believe this. How could anyone hurt a child? Ella shook her head. It is not about strength. It is about cruelty. But we have something they do not understand. We have patience, intelligence, and the will to protect our own. That will be enough. The ship took off, leaving the glowing planet behind. Outside the window, the children were small figures moving under the control of the alien machines. But for the first time, the humans knew they were coming. They would come with strategy, with care, and with determination. And the Zirans would learn that harming human children would bring consequences they could not imagine. Ella looked at Jack and said softly, "We cannot let this continue. Not one child will be lost." Jack nodded. "Then we act wisely. And we act soon." The stars outside shimmered like tiny diamonds as the human ship sped away. Somewhere on that distant planet, human children waited, unaware that help was on the way. But help was coming, and it would be careful, clever, and unstoppable. Humans had spread across the galaxy, but they had never forgotten what it meant to protect the innocent. The team began preparing detailed plans, studying alien technology, and coordinating with other human leaders. Every move would be precise. Every decision measured. There would be no mistakes. The fate of the children, and the reputation of humanity, depended on it. For the first time, Ella allowed herself a small smile. The Zirans thought they were safe. They thought humans would rush in and fail. But humans were not like other species. They would think, they would plan, and they would act. And when they did, no child would ever be hurt again. The stars stretched endlessly outside the ship, quiet and cold, but the human crew felt a spark of fire inside them. The fire of courage, of intelligence, and of care. They would return. They would save the children. And the galaxy would remember. Humans had seen much in their travels across the stars. They had met many alien species, some friendly, some dangerous. But no matter where they went, they held the same rules in their hearts. One rule was clear: human children were never to be harmed. The thought of an innocent child suffering was more than any human could allow. The message from the distant planet, where the Zirans had captured human children, reached the council quickly. The council was a gathering of human leaders from different star colonies, each skilled in politics, diplomacy, and strategy. The council convened in the high glass-domed chamber aboard the command station orbiting the planet. Stars glimmered far below through the dome, but no beauty could distract from the urgent matter at hand. Maya, a diplomat with calm gray eyes and steady hands, stepped forward. She had represented humans before in tense meetings with alien species, and she knew how to speak so that everyone listened. Her voice was clear and strong. "The Zirans have captured our children," she said. "They use unknown technology to control them. Any harm done will not be forgiven. Humanity will respond with full force if a single child is injured." The council murmured in agreement, some leaders nodding, others whispering quietly. Maya looked around, meeting each gaze. She knew that in diplomacy words carried power. Humans had always believed in peaceful solutions first, but they also believed in action when words failed. This was one of those moments. Messages were sent to the Zirans. They were careful, polite, but firm. The message stated the facts, identified the humans' demands, and made the consequences clear. Humans did not threaten blindly. They explained that harming a child would bring their species into trouble with the Galactic Council, with economic sanctions, restrictions, and isolation. When the Zirans received the message, they laughed. They did not take humans seriously. "They talk as if they have power," one Ziran said to another in their strange language, their eyes glowing faintly. "They are weak. They do not understand the ways of our technology. We are in control." But humans did understand. They understood strategy, patience, and preparation. They knew that strength alone did not win battles. Intelligence and careful planning did. While the Zirans laughed, humans worked quietly. They prepared defensive technologies that were both powerful and precise. In one laboratory aboard the orbiting station, Leo, a tall man with a calm voice and careful hands, tested energy shields. The shields were not weapons to harm anyone. They were barriers, glowing fields that could block attacks, contain machines, and protect anyone inside. He moved slowly, placing panels and running power tests, checking every detail. Beside him, Anna, a technician with sharp eyes and quick hands, worked on non-lethal nets. These nets could float through the air, capturing machines and restraining them without damage. "Leo, the field strength is stable," Anna said, adjusting a small control panel. "We can extend it to cover the whole forest area if needed. The Zirans won't be able to break it without risking themselves." Leo nodded. "Good. Keep testing the nets. We need to be ready for anything." He paused and looked out of the laboratory window at the stars. "It's strange, isn't it?" he said quietly. "We're preparing to defend children we've never met. And yet, I feel as if I know them already." Anna smiled faintly. "That's humanity, Leo. We protect even the ones we haven't met yet. That's why they fear us in some ways. They think we are soft. They don't know our strength." Across the station, Maya monitored communications. Her eyes followed Zirin's signals, trying to understand their next move. They were clever, quick, and unpredictable. Humans had to be smarter. They could not rush in blindly. Every step had to be measured. Every action planned. The council continued planning. They simulated different scenarios, imagining the Zirin's possible reactions. One scenario showed the children being moved to a different part of the planet. Another showed Zirin's trying to disable the human ship's sensors. Each time humans found solutions. Each time they improved their technology and strategy. While the humans worked, a few Zirins watched from their hidden observatories on the planet. They did not understand why humans moved slowly. They laughed again, thinking humans were afraid. They did not see the careful calculation behind every step. Back on the station, Leo and Anna finished testing the nets. Anna held one in her hands, letting it float lightly in the air. It shimmered like a spider's web, strong enough to restrain a machine but soft enough not to hurt a child. "Perfect," she said. "This will work if we need it." Leo smiled. "Yes. And remember, it's not just technology that matters. It's our patience, our calm. The Zirins will underestimate us. And that will be their mistake." Maya nodded as she finished another message to the Zirins. "We must be firm but clear," she said. "We do not want war, but we will not allow cruelty. They need to understand that humanity values life above all else. Once they understand, they may think twice." Hours passed. The human team remained vigilant. Sensors watched the Zirin camps, noting the children's movements, the patterns of the machines, and the alien guards. Every piece of information was recorded. Every possibility was considered. Humans did not panic. They stayed calm, serious, and ready. Finally, as the twin suns of the planet began to set, the council gathered once more. Maya addressed everyone with quiet authority. "The Zirins think we are weak. That is their mistake. They do not see our strength, our intelligence, or our determination. They do not understand that harming a child is not just wrong, it is dangerous. For them and for their species." Leo added, "We are ready. Shields are tested. Nets are ready. We can act if needed, but carefully. The children's safety comes first. No one will be harmed if we can prevent it. But we are not afraid to use what we must." Anna smiled slightly. "And they will see that our patience is power. That we will not rush, but when we act perfectly." Maya looked out at the stars once more. The Zirins were still laughing, still confident in their control. But humans were patient, careful, and ready. They had planned, they had prepared, and they would protect the children. The message had been sent. The warning had been delivered. And humans would not forget. The Zirins' laughter would not last. They would learn soon enough that harming a human child was a line no one could cross. Humans were clever, patient, and serious. They were not weak. They were unstoppable when protecting the innocent. The children on the distant planet moved slightly in their cages of light, unaware of the humans watching from orbit. But help was coming. And it would be precise, careful, and unstoppable. Humans would save them. And when the Zirins realized it, they would understand that their species had made a grave mistake. Maya turned to Leo and Anna. "We wait, we watch, and we act when the time is right," she said. "The children will be safe. Humanity will make sure of it. That is our promise." Leo and Anna nodded, looking at each other. They understood. Patience was a weapon. Intelligence was a weapon. And together, humans would defend what they loved most. The Zirins might think they were clever, but they had never faced humans like this before. The twin suns disappeared behind the mountains, leaving the planet bathed in soft twilight. From orbit, the human team watched silently, their minds working, their hearts steady, their determination unshakable. They had warned the Zirins. They had prepared. And the children, though far away, were not forgotten. No one would hurt a human child if humans could help it. That was the rule. That was the law. That was the promise humanity had carried across the stars. And the Zirins would soon learn the truth. The humans watched from orbit, their eyes and sensors fixed on the distant planet where the Zirins had captured human children. The Zirins were clever, but they had not yet realized that humans were far more patient and careful than any alien species had ever expected. Finn, a young but brilliant strategist, adjusted the holographic map in the command room. He traced the movements of Zirin ships and the location of the children, noting every pattern, every pause, every tiny detail. "Look at this," Finn said, pointing at a cluster of ships hovering near a cliff. "They are moving the children closer to the edge. It's clear they want to scare them. The Zirans think fear will break our patience." Lily, a technician with steady hands and sharp eyes, leaned over the map. "We can't rush in. Any sudden action will make them tighten control over the children. We need protective fields in place first. Then we can plan the rescue without putting anyone in danger." Outside the station, the twin suns cast long shadows over the forests of the planet. The children were small figures moving under the Zirans' control. Some clung to each other, some looked up at the sky, hoping for help they could not yet see. The humans knew that every second counted. "We must act like we are here in peace," Maya had said earlier in the council meeting. "But in reality, every step is part of our plan. We will protect the children. The Zirans do not know it yet, but we are already controlling the situation." Finn nodded. "We can set up energy fields around the children. If any Ziran tries to get too close, the field will stop them. No child will be harmed, not even by accident. And the Zirans won't be able to detect it until it is too late." Lily's fingers danced across her controls. She activated the first shield generator, a faint blue glow forming invisible walls around the children's immediate area. Slowly, carefully, she extended it to cover the whole zone where the Zirans were moving them. "Done," she said quietly. "They won't touch a single child without triggering the field." From orbit, humans observed closely. The Zirans did not know that their attempts to frighten the children were already being countered. They moved the children to cliff edges, small caves and dense forests. They hoped fear would weaken human resolve. But humans stayed calm. They were patient, methodical, and precise. "This is more than just a test," Finn said. "The Zirans want to see if we will act with anger or panic. They think that emotion will cause mistakes. But we will not make mistakes. Our strength is in patience." Lily smiled faintly. "And in cleverness. They do not understand us yet. They do not know that we can protect, observe, and wait all at the same time. They think we are slow, but that is their mistake." Even outside the immediate team, other alien species began noticing the humans' unusual behavior. Traders, explorers, and council members from distant systems watched quietly as the humans monitored every movement, deployed invisible shields, and studied alien patterns without attacking. The humans' patience and care became visible across communications channels. Rumors began to spread. Humans protected their young like no other species. Maya, watching the readings, said, "The galaxy is noticing. Not for violence, not for war, but for control and care. Our children are safe because of our patience. That is our power." On the planet, the Zirans continued their attempts to intimidate. One small group moved children to the top of a steep cliff, hoping to provoke fear. They whispered in their strange language, gesturing toward the humans in orbit. But the energy field around the children held firm. Invisible walls shimmered faintly in the sunlight, preventing anyone from reaching the children without detection. Finn adjusted the settings, making sure the shields would not harm the children or restrict their small movements unnecessarily. "They are free enough to move, but no Ziran can touch them," he said. "Perfect balance." Lily looked at the data and shook her head with quiet frustration. "They really think they can scare us. It's almost amusing." "It is," Finn agreed. "But also dangerous if we underestimate them. They are clever and they will test us again. We must be ready." While humans observed from orbit, they also prepared for communication. Maya sent out signals disguised as peaceful messages, letting the Zirans believe humans were negotiating. The Zirans responded with arrogance, thinking humans were hesitant and weak. They moved slowly. "They do not understand our control," one Ziran said, their eyes glowing faintly purple. But humans were not hesitating. Every moment of patience was part of a plan. The Zirans could not see the invisible shields, could not detect the hidden sensors, and could not understand the careful calculations behind every human action. On the surface, the children remained unaware of the humans watching. Some played quietly, some looked at each other nervously, and some tried to reach for small flowers or animals. Finn and Lily monitored their movements carefully. "The children must be calm," Lily said. "Fear can be dangerous. We need them calm so our final steps will be smooth." Finn nodded. "We will not rush. We will wait for the right moment. And when it comes, no one will be harmed." As the hours passed, the Zirans increased their provocations. They moved some children to high platforms, others to tight chambers, and they whispered warnings hoping the humans would panic. But humans did not. They observed, adjusted the shields, and mapped every Ziran ship and patrol route. The children's safety was never compromised. Maya watched all the readings on her screen. "This is the test," she said quietly. "They are testing our patience, our intelligence, and our care. And we are passing. Every moment of calm is a victory. Every careful action proves that humanity is different from the other species. We do not strike without reason, but we will protect what is ours at any cost." The Zirans, confident in their control, did not notice the subtle networks forming around their movements. Invisible nets hovered, ready to restrain any machine that came too close. Sensors silently tracked their patrols. Every movement was monitored. Humans were ready for every possible action the aliens might take. Even some other species began sending messages to each other about the humans. "Look at them," one said. "They do not act in anger. They watch, they protect, they plan. Their children are safe, and they are already winning without firing a single shot." Back in the command station, Finn adjusted the final protective shields. "Everything is ready. The Zirans will not hurt a child even if they try. The planet may be theirs for now, but the children are safe. And soon we will move to the next step." Lily nodded. "They will learn soon enough that we are patient, clever, and careful. And that patience is our greatest weapon. They cannot scare us. They cannot trick us. They will see that we protect what is ours." Maya sent another message, disguised as peaceful communication, to let the Zirans continue thinking humans were slow. She watched carefully as the aliens received it and reacted with smugness, completely unaware of the invisible preparations surrounding them. The children meanwhile looked at the sky, sensing the presence of humans somehow. They felt warmth, safety, and protection even though they could not see it. Some smiled faintly, some whispered to each other quietly. Humans had made them safe without making their presence obvious. Hours turned into a full day of observation. The Zirans tested humans again and again, but every test failed. The humans' careful planning, protective technology, and patience were more than the Zirans could understand. The aliens tried to frighten, to provoke, and to force a reaction, but humans did not react with violence. They acted with intelligence, care, and perfect timing. Finn leaned back in his chair, satisfied. "We have passed the test," he said quietly. "They have no idea how prepared we are. We are ready for the next move. The children are safe, and we control the situation without them knowing it." Lily smiled faintly. "They thought they could scare us. They thought we would rush in and make mistakes. But we are human. We plan, we protect, and we act with wisdom. That is our strength." Maya, watching the readings one last time before the twin suns set behind the mountains, spoke softly. "The Zirans will learn soon enough. They think this is a test of fear. It is actually a test of patience. And we have passed it. We will act when the time is right, and when we do, no child will be harmed. That is our promise, and the galaxy will know it." The children slept safely that night under the protective shields, unaware of the invisible guardians watching over them. The Zirans had no idea that their attempts to scare them had failed. Humans were patient, clever, and ready. And when the time came to act, no one would stop them. The stars glimmered above the distant planet, and humans prepared quietly for the next phase. The test was over, but the plan had only just begun. The Zirans had underestimated the humans, and that would be their greatest mistake. The planet lay quiet under the twin suns, but the humans watching from orbit knew it was a dangerous moment. The Zirans had been testing patience, moving the human children to frightening places, but so far the humans' careful planning had protected them. Now everything was about to change. One Ziran, larger and more confident than the others, stepped forward. Its glowing purple eyes scanned the area, and it gestured to one small child standing at the edge of a cliff. The child's tiny hands clutched the sides of the glowing cage that held them. Fear was written clearly across the child's face. The Ziran raised a claw-like hand and spoke in its alien language. Its tone was harsh, threatening, and meant to provoke action. Maya, observing from orbit, held her breath. This was the moment of truth. Finn and Lily monitored the Ziran's movements, running calculations for energy net deployment. Ella and Jack were in the control room, coordinating the response with calm precision. Every second mattered, but the humans did not panic. They had trained for this. They had planned for this. Ella's hands moved over the controls. "Jack," she said quietly, "they think they can scare us. Now we show them that we are not afraid. Prepare the energy net." Jack nodded. His eyes were steady and his voice calm. "All systems ready. Field strength at maximum. Deployment on your mark." Outside, the Ziran moved closer to the child, raising its claw higher. It had no idea that the humans were about to act. The child's small lips trembled, and their eyes searched the sky for hope. The humans watched silently, every muscle and thought focused on protecting them without causing harm. Ella took a deep breath. Now, she said. Jack activated the controls. Instantly, an invisible energy net spread outward from the human ship's orbit, extending toward the Xeran ships. The net shimmered faintly in the sunlight, a delicate web of light that no Xeran could see until it was too late. As it reached the Xeran vessels, the ships shuddered. Engines stuttered. Mechanical arms froze mid-motion. The Xerans realized too late that they were trapped. One of the Xerans roared in anger, trying to break free, but the energy net held firm. It was powerful, precise, and non-lethal. Not a single child was hurt. Not a single human needed to fire a weapon. The humans had created a trap that relied on intelligence and technology, not violence. From orbit, Maya's voice echoed through the command room. Harm a child and your species faces consequences. This is your final warning. The Xerans froze. They had never encountered a species that could stop them without attacking. Their arrogance faltered. Their purple eyes widened in shock. The children, still in their cages of light, looked around nervously, sensing that something had changed. The invisible human shields were protecting them, and the Xerans could not touch them. Finn monitored the energy net's stability, making adjustments to ensure it remained perfect. The field is holding, he said. Every ship is contained. None of them can move without triggering containment. The children are safe. Lily watched the children carefully, noting their expressions. They're frightened, but they know we are here. They can feel protection. That's enough for now. The Xerans tried to communicate, waving their arms and shouting in their alien language. But humans did not respond in anger. They remained calm, deliberate, and strong. That calm strength spoke louder than any weapon ever could. Ella leaned back slightly in her chair, her voice soft but firm. We protect our own. We do not need to strike to show strength. They will understand it now. The galaxy, through sensors and communication networks, watched in awe. Alien species that had monitored the humans from a distance began to whisper among themselves. They are not violent, one said. They do not attack, but they are unstoppable. Their children are safe and their control is perfect. They are different. On the surface, the Xerans tried to think of a way out, but every movement triggered the net. They had underestimated humans in every way. Their arrogance and cruelty had blinded them. Now they were trapped, powerless, and facing a species that would not forgive harm done to children. Jack adjusted the controls to extend the energy net around the Xeran ships fully. We are in complete control, he said. They cannot move, they cannot escape, and they cannot hurt a child. The situation is stable. Maya transmitted another message to the Xerans, calm and clear. Your control over human children ends now. Any further attempt to harm them will bring the full response of humanity and the Galactic Council. We do not threaten lightly. This is not a warning. This is certainty. The Xerans recoiled. They had never been confronted with such power used with restraint. Their species had always relied on fear, intimidation, and cruelty. They had assumed that fear could break humans. But humans were not broken by fear, they were strengthened by resolve. The children, sensing the shift in power, began to relax slightly. Some huddled together less tightly, some looked at the sky with a hint of hope. They did not know that humans were watching, that invisible shields protected them, or that their captors were trapped. But they could feel safety. That was enough. Finn monitored the Xeran vessels, noting their every attempt to escape. They are panicking now, he said. Their movements are erratic. But the field holds. Nothing will fail. Lily nodded. It is amazing. They thought they were in control. They thought fear would work. And yet here we are. Calm, precise, protecting the children without harming anyone. From orbit, Ella watched the situation unfold. This is the moment of truth, she said quietly. They have been tested, we have been tested, and the children have been protected. Our strength is not in violence. It is in planning, patience, and moral courage. They will remember this lesson. In the control room, every human felt a quiet pride. They had acted with care, intelligence, and restraint. They had stopped a threat without causing harm. That was true power. That was what it meant to be human in the galaxy. The Xerans struggled for hours trying to find a weakness in the net. But humans had anticipated every move. Every contingency had been considered. Every possibility planned for. And still the humans did not strike. Their restraint was the loudest message of all. Harm a human child and you face consequences beyond your understanding. Maya sent a final message to the Xerans, calm and firm. You have been warned. Our children are protected. Your species will be held responsible if any harm comes to them. We are patient, we are clever, and we are strong. That is the truth of humanity. The Zirans, for the first time, realized they were not just facing an enemy, they were facing a species that combined intelligence, care, and unwavering resolve. They were trapped not by weapons, but by superior strategy, moral strength, and technology used for protection. The galaxy watched. Traders, explorers, and alien species saw the humans' actions unfold on communication feeds. Their patience, care, and intelligence inspired awe. They had proven that strength was not measured by destruction, but by protection, planning, and courage. The children finally felt hope. Small smiles appeared on their faces. Tiny hands reached for each other. For the first time in days they moved without fear. They did not know the humans by name, but they could sense their protection, and that was enough. Ella leaned back, watching the sensors. "We have done it," she said. "No child is harmed. The Zirans are trapped. The galaxy is watching. And humanity has shown its strength without using violence. That is our lesson." Jack smiled slightly. "And they will never forget it. They will never underestimate humans again." The energy net shimmered faintly around the Ziran ships, holding them in place without harming anyone. Outside, the twin suns began to set, painting the sky in orange and purple. The children were safe. The humans had acted with precision and care. The galaxy had witnessed a species that could protect its young with intelligence, patience, and courage. And in that quiet moment, as the Zirans struggled helplessly and the children slept peacefully, humans knew the truth. Strength was not violence. Strength was protection. Strength was patience, intelligence, and moral courage. The Zirans would remember this day forever. And the galaxy would remember humanity as the species that could face any threat, protect the innocent, and win without harming a single child. The Zirans were trapped, but they were not willing to give up easily. Their ships shivered under the invisible energy nets, their glowing purple eyes wide with frustration. They tried to move, they tried to break free, and they tried to frighten the humans again, but nothing worked. Every attempt failed. The humans had planned carefully, and patience had become their greatest weapon. From orbit, Finn and Lily monitored the Ziran vessels. "They are still trying," Finn said quietly. "But they cannot escape. Every movement is detected, every action countered." Lily nodded. "We've prepared for everything. The children are safe. The Zirans are wasting their energy." On the planet's surface, the children began to realize something had changed. They were no longer held tightly by the invisible force of fear. They could move a little, peek at the sky, and see the stars beginning to twinkle as the twin suns set. Some children whispered to each other, their voices small but full of hope. Maya and Leo prepared the final phase of the rescue. They had designed small transport pods that could safely descend to the children's location. Each pod was equipped with soft energy fields to protect the children from any accidental harm during extraction. Leo checked each system twice, ensuring that no malfunction could endanger the young ones. "We need to calm them first," Maya said. "They have been frightened for days. We can't rush them. If they panic, it will be harder to get them safely into the pods." The pods began descending slowly, invisible shields protecting them from Ziran observation. Ella and Jack coordinated the operation from orbit, communicating quietly with Maya, Leo, Finn, and Lily. Every movement was precise. Every step calculated. The Zirans struggled below, but they could not break through the energy net. One small boy hesitated at the edge of the clearing. His eyes were wide with fear, but Maya spoke softly, using calm words and gentle gestures. "It's okay," she said. "You are safe now. We are here to help. Take my hand and you will be safe." The boy blinked, then slowly moved toward her. A small smile appeared on his face, the first in days. Leo helped another child climb into a pod, showing them it was safe. "See," he said. "Nothing will hurt you. We promise." As the children were brought aboard the pods, the Zirans realized they had no control. They tried one final attack, moving some of their vessels closer. But Finn's calculations predicted every move, and the energy net expanded, blocking them completely. The Zirans were trapped again, and this time there was no way to escape. From orbit, humans monitored the operation. Ella spoke softly but firmly. "The children are safe. The Zirans have failed. And now, the galaxy will see what happens when anyone threatens human innocence." The pods carried the children back to the orbiting human station, where medical teams were ready. The children were frightened, tired, and hungry but safe. Doctors checked their health, reassured them, and offered warm food and blankets. Maya walked among them, holding the hands of the youngest ones, whispering calm words. Leo adjusted small protective devices, making sure each child felt secure. "They are tired," Maya said softly. But they know they are safe now. That is what matters. The Zirans, trapped and humiliated, were forced to communicate with the humans under the energy net. They realized for the first time that their arrogance had blinded them. They had thought humans would panic, attack, or make mistakes. But humans had acted with intelligence, patience, and care. And now they could do nothing. Reports of the humans' actions spread quickly through the Galactic Council. Alien species who had watched from a distance shared the story. Humans had protected their children without violence, outsmarted a powerful species, and rescued every child safely. Traders, explorers, and diplomats began to respect humanity more than ever. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting to address the Ziran actions. The Zirans were accused of cruelty and breaking interstellar laws. The Council ruled that the Zirans would lose trade rights with all member species, their reputation would be tarnished forever, and they would be closely monitored for any future aggression. Their actions against human children would never be forgotten. Maya stood before the council, calm and proud. The Zirans underestimated humans, she said. They thought fear and cruelty could control us. But we protect our children. We act with courage and care. Violence is not our first choice, but protection is our greatest strength. Let this be a lesson to all species. Human children are never to be harmed. Back on the planet, the Zirans retreated to their hidden bases. They were quiet now, unsure of how to respond. Their arrogance had failed. The humans had shown the galaxy that intelligence, planning, and moral courage were more powerful than fear or strength. The children were gradually comforted. Some began to smile again, playing quietly in the safe zones created by humans. Others looked at the stars above, realizing that the humans had been watching, guiding, and protecting them all along. Ella, Jack, Maya, and Leo moved among them, offering gentle words, warm food, and quiet reassurances. The children began to trust humans, understanding that they were safe. "See," Maya said softly to one small girl clinging to her hand. "We are here. No one can hurt you now. You are safe with us." The girl nodded, slowly letting go of her fear. "Thank you," she whispered. Humans on the orbiting station looked at each other quietly, knowing that the operation had succeeded. Finn smiled faintly, watching the last of the children safely enter the station. "We did it," he said. "Every child is safe. The Zirans have been defeated without a single child being harmed." Lily nodded, her eyes soft. "That is true strength. Courage without cruelty. Protection without violence. That is humanity." Ella looked out at the planet below. The Zirans were no longer a threat. They had been trapped, defeated, and humiliated. The humans had acted with care and intelligence, showing that they could win where others relied on force. "The galaxy is watching," Jack said quietly. "And now they will know the truth. Humanity protects innocence like no other species." Indeed, the story of the Ziran defeat spread across star systems. Aliens marveled at humans' cleverness, patience, and moral courage. Traders and explorers shared the tale widely. The children's rescue became a symbol of human strength and wisdom. Back on the station, the children began to recover. They laughed softly, played with small toys, and asked questions about the stars. Humans answered patiently, explaining who they were and why they had come to help. The children learned that humans were not just strong but careful, smart, and kind. Maya watched the children from a quiet corner. "They will grow up knowing the truth," she said. "They will know that humans protect their own. That lesson will never be forgotten." Leo adjusted the shields one last time, ensuring that no Ziran could approach. "The children are safe. That is what matters. Everything else is secondary." The Zirans, now isolated and watched closely by the Galactic Council, realized that their cruelty had failed. They had underestimated humans' intelligence, courage, and care. For the first time, they understood that harming human children was a line that could never be crossed. The humans had won not with weapons but with patience, planning, and moral courage. They had proven that courage and care could succeed where violence failed. And the galaxy had seen it. The children slept peacefully that night, their faces soft and calm, safe under the humans' care. The Zirans could do nothing. The humans had acted perfectly, showing the galaxy that innocence would always be protected, and that humanity could never be defeated when defending what mattered most. Ella, Jack, Maya, and Leo looked at the stars from the station's observation deck. "We did the right thing," Ella said softly. Jack nodded. "We acted with care and we won. That is strength." Maya smiled faintly. "The galaxy will remember. Humans protect innocence like no other species. That is our legacy." And in that quiet moment, as the twin suns set and the stars appeared above, the humans knew that their children were safe, the Zirans defeated, and the galaxy wiser for having seen the truth of human courage. Years passed, and humanity continued to expand across the stars, not just as explorers or settlers but as protectors. News of the Ziran defeat and the rescue of human children had spread across the galaxy, becoming a story told in trade stations, council chambers, and distant planets. The humans had shown that they could defeat a threat without cruelty, protect the innocent, and act with intelligence and care. That reputation had grown stronger with every passing year. On countless planets, human colonies grew. Small domes dotted desert worlds, forests were replanted on barren planets, and cities thrived under artificial skies when needed. Wherever humans went, they brought safety, education, and care for children. Schools, parks, and safe zones became standard, not luxury. Children were never left unprotected, and their well-being became a priority not just for humans but for allied species who worked with them. Ella, Jack, Maya, and Finn had become leaders in this new age of guardianship. They often traveled between worlds, inspecting colonies, advising governors, and ensuring that human children, and children of other species under human care, remained safe. Ella, still sharp-eyed and determined, watched over programs that trained adults and children alike in emergency preparedness, safety, and understanding alien technology. Jack traveled to frontier worlds, teaching communities how to build secure living zones and manage threats. Maya negotiated with alien governments and species, emphasizing cooperation, ethical laws, and the protection of all children. Finn worked in research labs, developing advanced protective technology that could shield entire cities if needed, all without harming anyone. One morning, on a lush planet with rolling green hills and sparkling rivers, children laughed as they played freely under the watchful eyes of human guardians. Birds with brilliant feathers flew through the trees, while small alien creatures wandered without fear. In one large park, children built forts from soft energy blocks, climbed low hills, and raced along the paths, their faces glowing with happiness. The humans, positioned in observatories and patrol points, did not interfere but ensured safety. Maya stood near a small fountain, watching a group of children play with a floating energy ball that bounced gently in the air. "Look at them," she said to Leo, who stood beside her, adjusting a small protective field over the park. "They have no fear. They know they are safe. That is what we built for them." Leo smiled, watching a young boy climb a small hill and then run laughing into the fountain's mist. "It feels good to see this," he said quietly. "All those years of planning, fighting, and protecting, it was for moments like this. Safety and freedom." On another hill, Ella and Jack stood side by side, observing a playground where children from many species played together. Some humans, some aliens, all learning to trust each other. "They are learning more than games," Jack said softly. "They are learning that someone will always protect them. That is something they will never forget." Ella nodded, her gaze steady. "And the Zirans know it too. Some changed, some faded into the background. They no longer try to harm children. They have seen humanity's strength, not in war but in care. That lesson is written across the galaxy now. Across the planet, sensors monitored distant points where other species sometimes tried mischief. Alerts went out, but no one ever reached the children. The humans had set up protective systems so advanced that threats could be neutralized quietly and safely. The children never saw danger, they only saw freedom. Finn moved through a lab nearby, checking the status of defensive fields around the city. He adjusted them slightly to maintain maximum efficiency without restricting movement. "It's not just protection," he said to himself. "It's reassurance. Children feel safe when they are free, not trapped. That is how humans win, they give strength without fear." Even other species took note. Traders, scientists, and diplomats spoke of humanity with respect. They marveled at a species that could defeat enemies, protect the innocent, and enforce justice without cruelty. Children of other species were sometimes placed under human protection, and the systems, teachings, and policies were applied universally. Humanity had created a network of guardianship that stretched across star systems, showing that courage and care could succeed where violence often failed. On one evening, as twin suns dipped below the horizon and the first stars appeared in the sky, Ella, Jack, Maya, and Finn gathered atop a small hill overlooking a city of children playing freely. The laughter and joy carried on the wind. Ella took a deep breath, smiling faintly. "Years ago we were testing patience. Now look at this. They are free. They are safe. And they will grow up strong, knowing that someone always protects them." Jack looked at the horizon. It wasn't just about saving children once. It's about creating a galaxy where innocence is never taken for granted. That is the legacy we leave behind. Maya, placing a hand on a small railing, nodded. And the Zirans know it. They have learned, through failure and observation, that harming a human child is more than foolish, it is dangerous. That lesson spreads far beyond our own worlds. Finn added quietly, "The galaxy respects humans not because we fight wars, not because we destroy, but because we think, we plan, and we protect. That respect is stronger than any weapon." As night fell, lights glimmered across the city. Children paused for a moment, gazing at the stars, some pointing and whispering to each other. Above them, human guardians watched silently, ensuring that joy and safety continued. The Zirans, where they remained, had been forced to adapt or fade from power. Some sought redemption, choosing paths of cooperation and learning from humanity's example. Others quietly withdrew, knowing that direct conflict with humans over the protection of children would never succeed. The galaxy too had learned. Traders, diplomats, explorers, and scientists spoke of humans as the species that protected innocence above all else. They shared stories of cleverness, patience, and moral courage. The example of the Ziran defeat had become a lesson in ethics, power, and the value of protecting those who could not protect themselves. In quiet moments, Ella, Jack, Maya, and Finn often gathered to reflect. Sometimes they spoke of the children they had saved long ago, sometimes of new generations growing up under their watchful care. But always they thought of one lesson: anyone who harms a human child would face the full strength of humanity, not through anger alone, but through intelligence, planning, and unwavering moral courage. From distant worlds, reports continued to arrive. Human children were safe, and human methods of protection were studied by other species who wished to emulate them. The network of guardianship grew planet by planet, system by system. Where humans were present, children laughed, learned, and played safely. And where humans were not, species that had observed them adjusted, respecting boundaries they had never respected before. Ella leaned against a railing one night, looking at the stars. "We did what we promised. Not with weapons. Not with fear. But with care, intelligence, and courage. That is humanity." Jack stood beside her, watching the children below. "They will grow up knowing safety. They will grow up learning what humanity values. And when they look at the stars, they will know that they are never alone." Maya and Finn joined them silently, gazing at the vast galaxy beyond. The planets shimmered, stars twinkled, and somewhere far away, the Zirans remembered the lesson of patience, planning, and protection. The laughter of children echoed across the hills, a sound that had once been drowned by fear but now carried freely across the worlds. It was a sound of hope, safety, and life. It was a sound that reminded every species that humanity was a force of protection, wisdom, and moral strength. And in that moment, Ella, Jack, Maya, and Finn knew the truth that had carried them through every challenge. The galaxy respected humans not for war, not for aggression, but for their wisdom, care, and courage. Humans had created a legacy of protection, and that legacy would last as long as stars shone above the planets and children laughed freely below. The galaxy would never forget.